In this video, we will try to revise Parliament chapter of Laxmikant, which is extremely important, and we will see all the important points that can be asked in the examination. So, first of all, the Parliament is the legislative organ of the government of India, and it was inspired from the British Westminster model. The part 5 of the Indian Constitution deals with the Parliament, the organization of Parliament, the composition, duration, officers, procedures, privileges, and power of Parliament. That is from Article 79 to Article 122. The organization of Parliament includes the President, Lok Sabha, which is also known as House of the People or Lower House, and the Rajya Sabha, which is also known as Council of States or Upper House. Though the President is not a member of either House of the Parliament, but he can prorogue both the houses. Lok Sabha has a maximum strength of 550 members. 530 come from states, 20 come from union territories, and 2 can be nominated member. The ratio of seat to population must be maintained, and delimitation is done after each census. Whereas in Rajya Sabha, the maximum strength is 250 members, and 238 comes from states and union territories, and 12 are nominated members representing literature, art, science, and social service. Members are elected through a system of proportional representation with a single transferable vote. There is also provision of reservation of seats. The Constitution has abandoned the system of communal representation. Initially, seats were reserved for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe for 10 years, but this has been extended periodically. The 95th Amendment Act extended the reservation until 2020, which was further extended. Lok Sabha the criteria is that minimum age to contest the election should be 25 years. The tenure is 5 years, and he must be a citizen of India. In Rajya Sabha, the minimum age is 30 years, the tenure is 6 years, with 1/3 retiring every 2 years. Now we will see how a member of parliament can be disqualified. Members can be disqualified mainly on 3 grounds. One is office of profit, second is anti-defection law, and third is the other miscellaneous grounds. So, office of profit is members holding certain government positions are considered to have an office of profit and must resign from one of the offices. It wants to establish a kind of compartmentalization between the executive and legislature. However, the definition of office of profit is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution of India. The second is anti-defection law. Members can be disqualified for defying the party whip if party has issued a whip, or except in cases of mergers or expulsion, this anti-defection does not work. So a kind of wholesale defection is still allowed. Other grounds are if a person is of unsound mind, insolvent, and corruption are also grounds for disqualification. In Representation of People's Act, if you are convicted for a crime and got a punishment for more than 2 years, you will be disqualified. All these provisions are there for the disqualification of members. Now, what if you have double membership? So, members elected to both houses must vacate their seat in the Rajya Sabha within 10 days. If a sitting member of one house is elected to the other, their seat in the first house becomes vacant. Members elected to both parliament as well as state legislature must vacate their parliamentary seat within 14 days. Okay? Now we will see about the presiding officers. The first is Speaker of Lok Sabha. He is elected by the Lok Sabha, and Speaker is the head and principal spokesperson of the houses. The Speaker decides on disqualification of members as well as interprets the Constitution and maintains order and decorum, and his decision is also final in money bill. Then there is Deputy Speaker. He is elected by the Lok Sabha. The Deputy Speaker presides over the House in the absence of the Speaker and can cast a tie-breaking vote. The Deputy Speaker also presides over joint sittings in the absence of the Speaker. You need to remember that if at all a speaker of Lok Sabha is present, deputy speaker is just like an ordinary member, and the speaker of Lok Sabha can only uh, have a casting vote. That you also need to remember. Then comes the chairman of Rajya Sabha. The vice president of India is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The chairman's power and functions are similar to those of speaker, except for deciding on money bills and presiding over joint sitting. Joint sitting कौन preside करेगा? That will be presided by the speaker only. Now we will see the sessions of the parliament. The president summons each house of parliament with a maximum gap of 6 months. This is mentioned in the constitution. Okay, exact wording. These are typical. There are typically 3 sessions. Okay, each year: the budget session, the monsoon session, and the winter session. So the budget session happens between February to May. Monsoon session happens from July to September. Winter session happens from November to December. Okay. The president can also terminate a session or dissolve the Lok Sabha. The power is with the president. Okay. Now we will see certain parliamentary proceedings. The parliamentary proceedings involves various devices, including the question hour, zero hour, motions, and discussions. What is question hour? The first hour of every sitting is reserved for members to ask questions and minister to provide answers. Okay. The next is zero hour. Okay. The hour after question hour is used to raise matters of urgent public importance. जैसे ही क्वेश्चन आवर खत्म होगा, जीरो आवर स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. फिर आता है मोशंस. So motions are proposal for discussion and decision on various matters, including censure motion हो सकता है ना, no confidence motion हो सकता है ना, censure motion, no confidence motion and adjournment motion. ठीक है. तो ये होते क्या है? सेंसर मोशन होता क्या है? सेंसर मोशन और नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन में एक सटल डिफरेंस है. देखिए, सेंसर मोशन जब आप अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं तो द रीजन फॉर द अडॉप्शन ऑफ सेंसर मोशन इन दी लोकसभा मस्ट बी स्टेटेड. रीजन आपको बताना पड़ेगा. नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन जो होता है, नो रीजन फॉर इट्स अडॉप्शन मस्ट बी स्टेटेड इन दी लोकसभा. दूसरी बात यह है, द सेंसर मोशन कैन बी पास्ड अगेंस्ट एन इंडिविजुअल मिनिस्टर or a group of minister or the entire council of minister. However, a no confidence motion can be passed against the entire council of ministers only. Censure motion is moved for censoring the council of ministers for specific policies and motions. However, no confidence motion is moved for ascertaining the confidence of the Lok Sabha in the council of ministers. ठीक है. सेंसर मोशन अगर पास हो गया तो नो वन फ्रॉम द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स नीड्स टू रिजाइन इफ द मोशन इज पास्ड इन द पार्लियामेंट. हाउएवर, नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन इफ इट इज पास्ड इन द लोकसभा, द एंटायर मिनिस्ट्री इंक्लूडिंग द प्राइम मिनिस्टर मस्ट रिजाइन फ्रॉम द ऑफिस. Okay, and Article 75 of the Constitution of India states that the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha as long as it enjoys the confidence of a majority of the members of the houses. Okay, that you need to remember. This difference is extremely important and you need to understand it. Okay, and then there are several discussions that happens in the parliament. Okay, like short duration discussion, special mentions are used to deliberate on issues of public importance. Also, adjournment motion involves an element of censure against the government that you need to remember. Therefore, Rajya Sabha is not permitted to make use of this device. This is an important part. Now we will see types of bill. So there are mainly 4 types of bill. One is ordinary, second is money, third is financial, and fourth is constitutional amendment bill. So what is the ordinary bill? So ordinary bill is can be introduced in either houses and must pass through 3 readings in each house before receiving the presidential assent. Okay. Money bill, on the other hand, can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha and cannot be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha can only make recommendations which the Lok Sabha may or may not accept. The next is financial bills. So financial bills involves expenditure from the consolidated fund of the India and are treated as ordinary bill except for certain provisions that are treated as money bill. Now we will see the constitutional amendment bill. So a bill for the amendment of the constitution can be introduced only in either house of the parliament, okay, not in the state legislature, first thing. Second is the bill can be introduced either by a minister or by a private member and does not require prior permission of the president. The bill must be passed in each house by a special majority, that is majority more than 50% of the total membership of the house and a majority of 2/3 of the members of the house present and voting. This you need to remember. Each house must pass the bill separately. In case of a disagreement between the two houses, there is no provision for holding a joint sitting of the two houses. If the bill seeks to amend the federal provisions of the constitution, it must also be ratified by the legislatures of the half of the states by a simple majority. Okay. The president must give his assent to the bill. He can neither withhold his assent to the bill nor return the bill for reconsideration of the parliament. After the president's assent, the bill becomes an act, a constitutional amendment act, and the constitution stands amended as per the changes made by the act. Okay. Now we will see the joint session of parliament. The president can call for a joint session of both houses to resolve a deadlock in the passage of a bill. This can occur if the bill is rejected by one house, if the house disagrees on amendment, or if the bill has not been passed by one house within 6 months of receiving it. So the thing is, bill is rejected, disagreement or on amendments, delay in passage, the speaker of the Lok Sabha presides over joint session, and if the house still disagrees, the view of the Lok Sabha prevails. This you need to remember. Now we will see the budget process. So in constitution, budget word is not mentioned. It is the annual financial statement. Is a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the government of India for the upcoming financial year. The first step is presentation. The finance minister presents the budget in parliament. Then the second is general discussion. A general discussion on the budget takes place in both houses. Third is scrutiny by the various committees. Okay. Then comes the voting on demands. Both houses vote on the demands for grants. The final step is appropriation and finance bill. The appropriation bill and the finance bill are passed to give effect to the budget. Okay. Now we will also see different kinds of motions are there. There are different kinds of cut motions. Okay, which is not given in this slide, but I want to remind you. So there are mainly 3 types of cut motion. The first is disapproval of policy cut, which seeks to reduce the amount of demand to ₹1, representing the disapproval of the policy undermining the demand. Second is economy cut. The economy cut motion calls for a reduction in the allocation of the demand to a specific amount. And third is token cut. A token cut motion is moved so that the amount of the demand is reduced by ₹100. This is to ventilate a specific grievances that is within the sphere of the responsibility of the government of India. Okay. This also you need to remember. Now there is multifunctional role of parliament. It also has legislative power, can make laws on subject in the union, state under certain circumstances, and concurrent list. It also has financial power. Parliament approves the budget, imposes taxes and controls government expenditure. It has constitutional power. Parliament can amend the constitution through various procedures, including simple majorities, special majority, and ratification by states. And then it has judicial power. Parliament can impeach the president, vice president, judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, and other constitutional authorities. Now, position of Rajya Sabha compared to Lok Sabha. So, equal power कहाँ है Rajya Sabha का? Ordinary and constitutional amendment bills में, elections and impeachment of the president and vice president में, approval of ordinances and proclamation of emergencies में, consideration of reports from constitutional bodies में. Special power कहाँ है लोक सभा का? Introduction and passage of money bills में, revocation of proclamation of emergency में, passing a no confidence motion में against the government, presiding over joint sessions of parliament में. Now we will see parliamentary privileges. So member of parliament enjoy certain privileges to ensure their independence and effective functioning. एक होता है इंडिविजुअल प्रिविलेजेस. सो इंडिविजुअल प्रिविलेजेस होते हैं फ्रीडम फ्रॉम अरेस्ट ड्यूरिंग सेशंस एंड 40 days बिफोर एंड आफ्टर. सेकंड इज फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच एंड वोट गिवन इन पार्लियामेंट. और कलेक्टिव प्रिविलेजेस है राइट टू पनिश फॉर कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. सेकंड इज एक्सक्लूजन ऑफ courts from inquiring into proceedings of parliament. Okay, now we had studied about the special powers of Rajya Sabha. Now we will see different types of parliamentary funds. There are mainly three types of fund: consolidated, contingency, and public account. So consolidated fund of India is all revenues received by the government of India, loans raised, and money received in repayment of loans are credited to this fund. No money can be withdrawn from this fund without the approval of the parliament. Second is contingency fund. This fund, held by the finance secretary on behalf of the president, is used to meet unforeseen expenditure when the parliament is not in session. And third is public accounts fund. This fund holds all public money other than those credited to the consolidated fund of India, such as provident fund, judicial deposits, and departmental deposit. So with this, we have covered all the important things of the Parliament chapter, and I hope this will be helpful for you to revise important things. Take care. Best wishes.